Hi, my name's Kirsten Eagles. My student number is T00698082. And today in this video, I'm going to be putting on two bandages. So the first will be a paw and hawk bandage. And then the second will be putting on a Splint. All right, so we're going to be doing a paw and hawk bandage on Max today. So he's just going to be laying in lateral while Michelle distracts him there. So he doesn't actually have a wound, but we're going to pretend it as if he did have a wound today. So we'll start with the Telfa pad as our dressing. So we would make sure not to touch it. And we'll say he has a wound right here. So we would put that there. And peel that back. So we would take one corner, and then we would take the other corner. There. So then the wound is protected. So we're going to start with our secondary layer there. So we're going to do the recurrent technique on the paw. So we'll start up and then tuck underneath. Grab it there, come up over one side, and grab it up top. Then go back down over the other side, and then wrap around. We want to make sure we're not putting anything on too tight, covering up the toes, and then we're going to spiral upwards. Make sure to cover at least half each time. And then once we start getting close to the hawk, that's when we're going to start doing our figure eight. So we'll come up over the top of the hawk there, and then come back down and overlap down here, and then we've got that X there in the middle. And wrap around, and then we're going to cover a little bit more, and a little bit more. Keep going until the entire hawk is covered there. Just like that. And we'll continue our way up the leg. Until the whole thing is covered. All right. So we can see the toes there are all covered. And then we're going to go in with our little stretch cling wrap here. We're going to do the same kind of technique. And wrap around. Making sure not to go too tight. And we get back to the hawk. We'll go up and around. And back down. Around again, and back down, and then go spiraling back up. There, and then we'll cut that off. Thank you. And then our last layer is going to be our tertiary layer, or vet wrap. So let me stretch it out a little bit so it's a little bit easier, because this one we don't want to be putting really any tension on. All right, so we're going to do the same thing again. Down, back up. Other side, come around, covering the toes there, just work our way up. Good, Max. do our figure 8 again. So we'll come up over the hock, down and around, up over it again, lapping, and back up. And there we are. Perfect. So you want to make sure that you can still get 2 fingers underneath there, so then you know it's not too tight. And then if we pull on the toes, that it's not going to come off the actual foot. For home care instructions, you want to make sure that the patient isn't getting it wet, isn't chewing at it. You want to be checking it at least twice a day for any swelling or movement of the bandage, anything like that. And those instructions would all go home with the owner. All right, so we're going to be putting a Metasplint on Molly today. So I'm just going to have Keisha hold her here in lateral and get some treats for her. Okay, so first we're going to start with our stirrups. So we have our tape here. So we'll put a piece along the cranial aspect of the leg. We have our popsicle stick here. And we'll put one on the back side, or the caudal aspect of the leg. Keep those together. Okay, so we're going to start with our primary layer. So we have some cotton roll here. So with this one, we're not going to be doing the recurrent. We're going to keep the toes open. So we'll start at the bottom of the paw here. We're going to be spiraling our way up, making sure that we're going at least halfway over the, when we're spiraling. We don't want it too tight. We're just going to go all the way up here. Right. And then once we get to the elbow, we're going to do our figure 8. So we'll go up over the elbow, come down around and cover a little bit more, and then cover a little bit more up top, and a little bit more below, and a little more up top, just until the elbow is covered there, and then we'll spiral up at the top there. All right, tear that off, so that's good. So then we're going to do our secondary layer. So we've just got some cling here. So we're going to do the same thing, just spiraling down, leaving the 3rd and 4th toes open. And when we get to the elbow, do our figure 8. Again, making sure we're not putting it on too tight. And then spiral around at the top there. All right, we'll tear that, get some scissors. All right, so now is the time to put the splint on. We're gonna get some tape ready just to kind of secure the splint to the leg. Right. Okay, so we've measured it for Molly, so this one is a bit big for her, but just where we're not going to be cutting it today, but we just want to make sure that the paw fits in there snugly, and that it's not going to be rubbing too much up at the top, kind of against the body wall. So, and then if we have a fracture, we want to make sure that we're not taping over the fracture. So we're just going to kind of place the leg in there nicely, and then put some tape on. And we're going to tape our stirrups. So we'll separate those. All right. I'm going to turn. tape on the back of the splint there. I'll do the same with the other side and cross them over in the back, and that's just going to prevent the splint from sliding down. There, all right. And then lastly, we're going to be putting on our third layer there. So we're going to take our vet wrap and we're just going to keep this nice and loose over the foot and the leg. All right. We don't want really any tension on the vet wrap here. We're just doing that spiral method again, making sure we're crossing at least halfway over. And I'm doing good. And then when we get to the elbow, do our figure 8. Around at the top, and there we are. So just make sure that it's not too tight here, and then make sure that we can't pull it off. So you can have her paw sitting nicely there in the scoop part. And then as far as for the patient and for the client, so we want the client to keep the paw and the bandage nice and dry. Have them check it for any slippage, any sort of things like that. So for taking it off, we'll just start here, pull it nice and tight, make sure that the scissors aren't against the patient, and just start putting through the material. Oh. And we would just peel all of that off, peel off those stirrups. There, and then she's free to go on her paw again.